How do I convert from the form y is equal to mx plus b of a line to the standard form for a line? The standard form for a line is ax plus by is equal to c, where a, b, and c, they are all integers. So for example, one example would be, let's just say negative 3x plus 2y is equal to 3, 3x plus 5y is equal to 4 or 5, whatever, right? This is an example of lines where it's written in standard form. Something that's not in standard form would be something like negative 1/2 x plus 1/3 y is equal to 5 over 6. This is not in standard form, all right? If it involves sort of decimals, like let's just say 0.5, right? I could have written 0.5 here. I could have written 0.33333 here. If it involves these decimals or if it involves these fractions, it's a no-go. That is not a line in standard form. All your numbers have to be whole numbers. Whole numbers, or it has to be essentially a negative whole number. So, integers, basically, right? Now, let's say if I have the line y is equal to 1/3 x plus 4 over 3. And I want to convert this into standard form. The first step I want to do is I want to get rid of the fraction, right? Because standard form has no fractions. But for y is equal to mx plus b, it can have fractions. So how can I get rid of the 3's in my denominator? Well, I can multiply this whole equation by 3. All right, so when I multiply the whole equation by 3, I'm going to multiply everything in the equation by 3. Notice how I'm multiplying both sides by 3 to ensure that my equation is equal to what it was originally, right? Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So this is going to be 3y is equal to, all right, what's 1/3 times 3? That's just going to be 1, right? What's 4/3 times 3? That's just going to be 4. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this x to the other side, right? Because for standard form, it's in the form of ax plus by is equal to c. Right now, x and y are not on the same side. So I have to move this x to this side. So I'm going to get negative 1x plus 3y is equal to 4, positive 4, right? And boom, there we go. There is our line in standard form. Let's do another problem. Let's say if I have the line y is equal to 1/2 x plus, let's see, 5 over 8. How do I convert this into standard form? Well, once again, you have to get rid of the denominators. So how can I get rid of both denominators at the same time? What number can I use to get rid of 2 and 8 at the same time? Well, I can multiply this whole equation by 8 in this case, right? Because notice how 8 has a factor of 2 in it, right? 8 is the same thing as 2 times 4. So this 2 right over here and this 2, they're gonna kill each other, right? They're gonna be gone, and you're just gonna be left with a 4 in the numerator, right? So whenever you want to find out what number can I use to kind of get rid of both denominators, you have to look at the factors of both of these terms, right? 8 has a factor of 2, and then, this 2, once again, the factor of 2 is just itself, right? So then, you can use that to your advantage. So in this case, if I multiply everything by 8, I get 8y is equal to, what's 1/2 times 8? 4. And we still have this x remaining. And it's going to be plus, what's 5/8 times 8? Well, the 8s can neutralize each other, so they're going to just be left with a 5. You're just going to be left with a 5, right, up top. Move this x to the other side, so you get negative 4x plus 8y is equal to 5. And there's our answer. Now, what if we get something that does not share a common factor? Let's just say if we have y is, okay, let's just say negative 5 over 6x plus 1 over 7. Notice how if I want to get rid of my denominators, 6 and 7 do not share any common factors. So what I'm actually going to have to do now is I have to find the least common multiple. All right, so essentially, look, I'm going to list out the multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, and 42. Now, what are the multiples of 7? The multiples of 7 are 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, and 42. Notice how they have a least common multiple of 42, right? 6 and 7, when, eventually when you list out their multiples and, you find the one that matches up common, right? The common matching one, right? That's going to be your least common multiple, all right? It should be the first matching one that you see. Now, what I'm going to do is that is going to be the number that I multiply this whole thing by. I multiply the whole equation by 42. So I'm just going to get 42y is going to be equal to, we know that 42 is the same thing as 6 times 7. So it might be easier to understand if I write this as 6 times 7. So it's going to be, if I multiply 42 by negative 5, 6x, I'm going to get essentially 6 times 7 times negative 5 over 6x, right? All I have done is I've broken this 42 down into 6 times 7, and it's going to be plus. 42 is the same thing once again as 6 times 7, so this is the same thing as 6 times 7 multiplied by 1 over 7, right? All right, it's the same thing as 6 times 7, and that's multiplied by 1 over 7, right? Notice how the 6's cancel out because 1 6 is in the numerator, 1 6 is in the denominator. And because you're multiplying them, they cancel out, right? Because 6 multiplied by 1 6 gives you just 1. And this 7 is in the numerator, and it's also in the denominator. So because we're multiplying them together, it cancels out. So all you're left with is 42y is equal to negative 5x plus 6, right? Negative 5x times 7 plus 6, right? Because remember, we still have this 7 in front. Now what I'm going to do is 7 times negative 5 is negative 35x. I'm going to move this 35x to the other side. So I'm just going to move this negative 35x to the other side. So all of this is going to be gone. I'm going to get 35x plus 42y is going to be equal to 6. And that is going to be my answer.